Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Super Subs Podcast. Your host, Harish and Narv here, back at it.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
so let's talk Champions League roundup. We're getting close to the playoff time, so we've had a number of games, another week. So, uh, as usual, we'll start with Super Sub. Um, so, out of all the Champions League games, who is your Super Sub?
Mine will be, let's see. If I had to pick, I'll say Dembele from PSG in the game versus City. Uh I thought he was a game changer. That really helped PSG secure a really important game, which I'm sure we'll touch on later on, but he was my super sub.
Nice. Um, my super sub is for Bologna, Illing Jr. He's new to Bologna. He came from, yeah, he was at Juventus for a while, but he's struggled a bit at Bologna on loan, but this game he came on in the 35th minute due to injury, but he he looked good all game. And he had a crucial goal that was ultimately was a game-winning goal against Dortmund. Want to give him a shout out. There's a few other players that were great instant impacts, but Bologna is officially like eliminated from the Champions League already. But still, it was cool to see them kind of still fight for pride at least.
Yep.
But let's start with some of the games. Let's start with from yesterday. Let's start with Atletico versus Bayern Leverkusen. Um, what stood out to you here? Let's start with Bayern Lever. Where do you want to start with this one?
Yeah, we can start with Leverkusen.
Okay.
Um I thought Uh, I thought majority of the game they looked the better side. I won't lie.
Hmm.
They had an early chance where I think it was Palacios. He missed a sitter. It was either him or Hinkepe. I keep getting the two of them confused.
Yeah, it was Nkepe.
Okay, that makes it a little bit better being a defender, but still,
Hmm.
it's kind of a sitter he missed. But Leverkusen had their chances. Uh, but I think that second goal by Alvarez kind of highlights why. I know a lot of people are been high on Jonathan Tah and Jonathan Tah getting like a big money move, but
Hmm. Even I said that was like a potential player for Chelsea to get, even though I haven't watched him much, but
uh,
everyone's so high on him.
yeah, I think that second goal kind of highlights what the mistake he has in his locker at times and like the flaw, I would say. Because Alvarez, out of all people, Alvarez kind of bodied him and kind of skinned him for pace. So
Even that first goal he did too, and Tao had like that. He tried to clear it and just cleared it backwards.
yeah, exactly.
Um, yeah, to your point, thought Leverkusen they definitely dominated possession, but in terms of creating chances, they didn't really create that much. Especially for all they had 70% possession, but only four shots on target. And yeah, they were able to keep the ball a lot, looked nice. They had over 600 passes compared to Atletico's 200, but still they just weren't creating chances. And I think it has to go props to uh pretty early on. Um, but with like their back five, I thought they were very well organized. And I really like Diego Simeone's son. Defensively, he helps out a lot. I think he won the most duels in the game too. When I was looking up some of the stats, but also going forward, Man, that man just has a lot of energy just to keep running back and forth down the field.
Yeah, when I first like kept seeing his name pop up on the team sheet throughout the year, or at least early on in the season, I was like, it's playing favoritism to his son. Well, I didn't even realize that was his son at first, until later on.
Hmm.
But yeah, he's actually really quality, going both ways. And to your point, like so much energy, was causing a
Hmm.
lot of chaos. I think he caused that second yellow for that uh, Hinakape guy.
Yeah.
So,
But again, Leverkusen, they just didn't look like they just couldn't break down Atletico. And I thought this was where Xavi Alonso, as much of a praise he's gotten from the whole soccer world, um, he should have made changes earlier, because they were just kind of going the same route over and over. And it's just like, he was just jamming, like it just wasn't working out. And like, uh, for example, like the first sub he made was, um, I guess one of the wing backs, but uh, attacking wise, like he took out Tella for I forgot who he brought on, but some midfielder. But I thought he should have. I know he brought on Patrick Schick to try to change things up, but he Victor Boniface, man, I don't know what's wrong with him this year. Like I thought whenever he does play, he's been decent. He has 8 goals across like 15 games, and I don't know why he's kind of lost trust with.
I think he had a injury spell for a bit. And
So he's just
that's
being
when
eased into it.
yeah, and that's when shit kind of started getting more of the PT.
Oh, okay. But yeah, that was my take on Bayern. They just, I guess it was more props to Atletico for how they defended.
Yeah, they're just because they defended with 10 men for a long time. That Barrios
Hmm.
dude, uh, bad, silly player, or not silly player, silly challenge to get the red.
Yeah.
Put your team down to 10 men in like 23rd minute. Like, but they were, yeah, that was like a vintage Diego Simeone performance.
Yeah, smash and grab. If it wasn't for Alvarez, who's clearly the player of the match, I think it would have been Grimaldo for Bayern
Yes.
Leverkusen. This player, he's almost 30, but he plays like a youngster, dude. He created the most chances, the most dribbles in the game out of anyone, most tackles out of anyone. He was just unbelievable up and down that pitch.
Yeah, I'm surprised like as great as Cucurella was in the Euros. I was surprised like how Grimaldo never even got a sniff at a game.
Hmm.
Because he's really good like going both ways as well.
Yeah, I'm surprised that just the quality he has, that he hasn't played for like a bigger team. Um, he's basically spent his whole career in Benfica, and I just assumed he was younger, but didn't realize he's almost 30.
Yeah, I didn't realize that until just now too. Yeah, that's crazy. Speaking of Benfica, do you want to shift over to that one or save that for later? Because that game was wild.
Yeah, any other touching points, especially on Atletico this one, or
Uh,
I think
no,
it wasn't much except good defending, I think.
yeah, just really good defending. They're in a really good spot too, sitting in fifth. Um,
Mhm.
I think they've secure. No, they haven't.
Yeah,
Not yet.
not yet. Yep. But yeah, let's go to the next. Let's talk about Liverpool Lille first.
Mhm.
Um, Salah scored early, and that finish he made that look so easy, and that curl was just, oh man, that was beautiful. Um, but Lille, they didn't go away quietly. They created a few chances. Um,
They almost
here,
scored within the first like minute.
oh
Uh,
yeah, I forgot about that one.
when that Cabela dude just shrugged off. Uh,
Was it
Connor Bradley.
Bradley?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a pretty good strike.
But yeah, Liverpool were definitely in control of this one. They wasted a ton of chances, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think they did. Um, I will say, Darwin Nunez, he looked pretty good, in the starting lineup, getting that center forward role. And then, honestly, I thought Chiesa looked more of a threat in the minutes he got than Luis Diaz.
Yeah, Chiesa, he came on and had what, like two really threatening shots.
Yeah.
Before we move on to Chiesa and talk about Luis Diaz, I do want to give a shout out to Darwin Núñez too. I back that. I think he was one of the better players for Liverpool, especially his hold up play and like chasing down
Uh-huh.
players as well, and some of the selfless runs he made.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that Darwin Nunez, like getting the Saudi Arabia bids, like that's just nonsense. Like you don't need that move, buddy. Like
No.
you're still Premier League caliber.
Oh, for sure. I think he definitely looked more confident this game. I think it helped with the brace.
Uh-huh.
And then, yeah, so you touched on Chiesa. Um, I feel like, he's been on the team since the start of the year, but this is only like his second appearance or second in the Champions League, but like in the league too. I don't know how much he hasn't really seen the field. Um, why do you think it's been so long that he's been introduced? But like now, do you think he's going to be playing a bigger role now going forward? Because when he's come on the past few times, he's looked really good.
Yeah, I think he had to get eased on with the injury because I think he was injured when he first arrived. But
Hmm.
then Gapco was just him and Diaz were just like so on form. Um, but then now with Jota hurt, Diaz kind of having to play the striker role. I think Chiesa definitely can provide competition for Gapco.
Hmm.
Because he does get some playing time in the cup games, like the smaller cup games, and looks pretty good. So I think he'll get more PT. I think he definitely deserves it.
Yeah, to your point, Arne Slot is very like conservative with his players and injuries.
Yeah, that is true. And then your boy again, Harvey Elliott, getting more playing time since coming back from injury, grabbing a goal. Granted, it was kind of deflected, but still a good finish.
Hmm. All right. I think now we can move on to the game of the day there. Man, Benfica versus Barca. 5-4. Pavaldis had a hat trick within the first 30 minutes. Um, but Barca ended up coming back at the very end. They were down, what, 4-2?
Uh-huh.
And then ended up scoring three to get the win 5-4.
This
Um,
game was so crazy, I completely blanked that Pavardis had a first half hat trick.
oh, yeah. Um, what did you think of? I
Crazy.
want to get your thoughts on uh, Benfica's left back. What did you think of his performance?
He was a beast. I I know that we've been linked, and I mean we got our bid rejected to Patrick Dorgu from Lecce or Lease, but I think this Alvaro Fernandez, he is the guy we should be after. I mean, he's a United Academy product, um,
Hmm.
and he's like becoming established as like a top left back. I know Bayern Munich is really after him. But I mean, we have a 15 million buyback clause on him. I feel like that's a no-brainer to get him back to
Hmm.
the club because he was, to be fair, it wasn't Lamine Yamal's bestest of games.
No, I'm gonna say that I think it was because of him, Lamine Yamal, especially that tackle early on, like first, I forget, 10, 15 minutes where he went right through Lamine Yamal, like clean tackle though,
Mhm.
but like aggressive. I think set the tone.
Yeah, exactly. Um, that cross was a great pick out too. Like he has a lot to his game going both ways. And I know when we did our transfers that we need to make in January or summer, he was the guy I pointed out. So I was happy for him. I thought he had a really good game. Um, and then uh,
Yeah, he should have had two assists, or he should have had multiple, but he his crossing abilities were because I'm not too familiar with this game. I've watched
mhm,
one other Champions League game, but this one I really try to focus on him a little more, and he's a bigger guy that doesn't look athletic, but he can definitely get up and down that pitch.
mhm. Um, yeah, it's crazy that this Benfica squad too, they still roll with Otamendi at the back. He's so old. Um, but yeah, I thought Benfica like they had a really good game plan coming out versus Barca and really caused a lot of chaos.
Hmm.
I'm also a huge fan of that one player for Benfica from Galatasaray. He made the move, that Turkish guy, Aktorgolu.
Oh yeah.
Um, I think he's really good.
It's unfortunate to see Di Maria again on the other side of Barcelona remontada.
Yeah, he could have put the game to bed.
Dude, yeah. That was a big save by Chesney.
Yeah. Speaking of Chesney, former goalkeeper yourself, what do you think about the goalkeeping performance, both ends?
Yeah, I think it was a poor like mistake, both keepers, but luckily it was like it got offset by Benfica's keeper also making a mistake. That was the craziest mistake I've ever seen where like he hits it right to an opponent's head and
Yeah, the camera like cut out because like they were just trying to show the replay. And
yeah.
then next second you just see the ball in the net. You're like, what the heck?
And
Um,
Rafinha was like he was
you
like
think,
confused.
question, you think he meant it?
Rafinha?
Yeah.
No, I
Because
don't
the
think so.
craziest part was like, if you're not ready for it, like, because the goalkeeper kind of pinged it, so like it was kind of hard. So like, wouldn't you like kind of like fall back a little bit if you're like not ready?
Yeah, I think he just saw the ball at him and he just like headed it, but
Uh,
he didn't think he was gonna like score actually. It
gotcha.
just hit him.
That was, yeah, probably one of the craziest things I've seen. Chesney also he had a howler taking out Balde.
Oh yeah. Um, Chesney's looked poor. W- Even in that Real Madrid, I forget what final that was, but where he got sent off, especially with like
Uh,
Barca or like cruise control.
hmm What'd you think about the other Barca's performance? Uh, I think one player, like, of course, Rafinha and Lewandowski grabbed the headlines with the goals, but I think Pedri's performance kind of
Pe-
went under the radar.
Yeah, I think Pedri was the best player on the pitch for Barca. Um, he definitely could have had a few more assists, but like the passes he was making, like the chances he created was insane.
Yeah. Um, what do you think of Rafinha, like his glow up?
I like it, dude. He's definitely not like refined to like just like role like he was at Leeds, like just playing down the wing and stuff and just cutting in, but he can like play through the middle now and just like under Hansi Flick's like system where it's like kind of you can kind of roam wherever. Um, I like how he kind of interchanges between like going down the middle and the side, and he can almost play like Lewandowski drops pretty deep nowadays as he's gotten older, and like Rafinha almost plays like a striker at times.
Yeah, he's been carrying this Barca team, aside from Lamine Yamal.
Yeah, especially with like grabbing goals. But I mean, I still think Pedri's kind of the glue of the team, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Especially the way
Um,
he's able to like just carry the ball, get past players, dribbling, and just like the precise passing as well.
I will say the one player like I'm really concerned for is Frankie De Jong. Uh, the minutes he get, like I feel like he would be a guaranteed like shoe-in starter for like any team. Like I still don't really get the Gavi hype. Like yeah, he's tenacious and stuff, but like quality wise, I think there's levels between like him and De Jong.
Yeah, especially but like De Jong, I guess, plays more of that like six role.
Hmm.
Um,
You don't think Pedri can play like the more advanced
I like Pedri at like where he's like more of a box to box
dictate
midfielder. I
the
think, yeah, that's like where he's like the best at. Um, so yeah, no, to your point though, I would think that De Jong would be better than what's his name, like that Mark Casado guy who's ultimately taken him over.
uh-huh.
Um, and like Casado, like he never has like a terrible performance, but I don't know, he just doesn't like stand out to me. Whereas like De Jong, I see the class in him.
Yeah, I feel like there's a whole nother level with De Jong. So
Hmm. But I think if like Pedri were to go down, I think Barca would be in big trouble. You would ask Gavi to play that type of role for him, and then you'd have Rafinha down the middle. But I feel like Pedri's pivotal for Barca.
yeah. Uh One player also uh is a bit concerning for Barca, like how crazy his downfall has been is Ansu Fati. Um,
Hmm.
like it's still mind-boggling to see like when he was talked about like the next saving grace for Barca to then getting loaned out to like Brighton and then now to like never seeing the field is like crazy.
Hmm. Yeah, that's good. I keep forgetting he's even on Barca.
Yeah, but that was this game was like FIFA type stuff. But I think Barca did get a bit lucky with the very last goal because I thought it could have potentially been a PK for Benfica, like before they had the attack.
Yeah, I agree there.
And then also
But
Lamine Yamal getting fouled. I thought that was slightly
that was
soft.
soft, yeah. But still, as Benfica, they're just so open. You got to close that game out.
That's true.
Grab two
Yeah.
goals. But let's move on. Well, another game yesterday, just a player I wanted to give a shout out to. I know you're a huge fan of him. So is just Jamie Luling. Um, 2 goals for Stuttgart, which is huge because Stuttgart is just on that edge for the playoffs for round of 16. So I know you're a huge fan of him. So they got Stuttgart the dub 3-1 against some Slovakian team. But I don't know if he'll make a big move because I think he signed a contract till 2029. So,
Oh geez, yeah, he's locked down.
yeah. But let's move on to today. I think the main game just to talk about is really just PSG versus City. Um, PSG ended up winning this 4-2, and I think they deserved to get the win. They outplayed City. City did go up 2-0 with goals back to back within
Early too.
yeah in the
Second
second
half.
half within 5 minutes. But to your point, Dembele came on and he looked freaking amazing. Um,
Apparently he had like the flu or something. That's why he was sitting out.
yeah, this was his Jordan game, dude.
He looked crazy.
I think a player that really stood out to me. We'll talk about PSG first. Player that really stood out to me was João Neves today.
Yes.
Um,
Beast.
he was on your he was on one of your lists this year, right? With like the
Uh-huh.
transfer best 11 or whatever.
Yeah.
Dude, he was running that midfield today. Him and Vitinho was good too. Him and Vitinho were amazing. But I think the best player on the pitch today was young Frenchman Bradley Barcola.
Oh, he had a field day with Nunez there out on the right.
Yeah, it just was not fair. I'm surprised City don't have like a legit defender they can put out there. And I would think that Rico Lewis would have been better than Nunez, especially when you saw Barcola cooking the first half too.
Yeah, because yeah, he was skinning him like it wasn't even he was beating him for skill, it was just like straight up pace.
Hmm.
He would just like line him up and just go past him like so easily.
Like you could tell, like he would like Nunez would be shifting him to the left, and he was just able to cut to his right so easily.
Yeah, he's gonna be a player to really look out for because like uh he's he kind of came in I think last year was when he really cemented his place
Hmm.
and he's really been on the rise. And it's hard to tell like what foot he's good at. Like he's kind of good going both ways.
It'll be interesting with like Vicha coming in too, because Barcola is so good. So like they play the same exact position.
Yeah, I don't think Vicha needed to come in really,
Mm-mm.
but that's a discussion for another day. I don't think he's a shoe-in starter.
Agreed. Um, that's a lot of money though. But yeah, we'll talk about that another time.
Maybe for that Asian guy, Kang In Lee, but
Yeah,
yeah,
they
well,
both love coming in from the left. Um, but also, I mean, PSG all around, they all played good, I think. The wing backs or the fullbacks also played well. Hakimi and Nuno Mendes.
yeah, they could have had it early or not early. They could have had it the first half goal, but like he was offside by like his knee, like
Oh,
kneecap,
barely.
barely. Yeah,
Um, and then yeah, let's touch on City here. I think even though they scored those two goals early, it was very lucky that they got that lead.
yeah. I thought Grealish's goal was well taken.
Oh yeah, that was a nice goal, but like it was just like a lucky deflection. Even Holland's was like a lucky. Uh, like Grealish is just like the clearance just came right back to him, and then I think Holland's was like it hit someone's chest or something, right? And it just
Oh
fell to
yeah,
Holland and tap in
hmm
God.
yeah,
Um, but like I don't know, I felt like PSG kind of dominated, and even though they went up, I just had that feeling, especially with this City team in 2024 to 2025, that it was just like, this is far from over, guys.
yeah. Especially when PSG got their goal like literally a few minutes after. But I think some of it has to go. It's crazy to say, but I think on Pep, like 2-0 lead, you cannot be giving that up in the manner you did. Like you got to at least like go 10 minutes without conceding right away. Uh,
Hmm.
and I think like Bernardo Silva had a stinker of a game. Like should have came off. Surprised he lasted the full 90. Could have really reinforced that defense.
Yeah, and also like, do you know why Diaz was taken off? Because I thought he had a decent first half, Ruben Diaz.
I think it's because he got an early yellow, and then he should have got sent off with another booking where the ref just gave a foul instead of a card. So I
Hmm.
think it was just like to mitigate uh like a risk.
Mm.
But yeah, to your point, I thought Diaz had a good game. It was really funny how Stones his first contribution was allowing a goal.
Dude, yeah. Even if he did get a head on that, that would have headed right towards the net.
Yeah. Um Again, I don't think Ederson's really to blame for the loss. I don't think he could have saved any of the goals really. Uh Yeah, the scoreline's not really reflected because PSG they had that offside goal, which was very close. Then they had the shot off a corner where like the goal line basically just hit Vardiol. Um, yeah, and it was just a bad loss for City considering like where they're at in the table. I thought they would have possibly seen it out just because, to be fair, they have been picking up a little bit of steam last few games, but. Yeah, this was just another dent to their season.
Yeah, now they basically have to win against Club Brugge um, next week. Um, and Club Brugge is in the playoff spot right now. But I mean, that's not all because they also need Stuttgart or PSG. Essentially, depending on how it goes, if Stuttgart and PSG tie, they both have 11, and if City win, they have 11. So I'm not sure with the tiebreakers. I think City might squeeze through with goal differential.
Yeah. A loss to Club Brugge and they are out.
A loss or a tie. Yep, they need a win.
Oh yeah.
But the thing is, like Club Brugge, also they potentially need a dub. So it's, I mean, a big game for both of them. It's at the Etihad, but yeah, to your point, when it's 2-0, you can't blow a lead in the fashion that City did too. Because even with the two goals up, it just didn't feel like, I don't know why. Like it just felt like, dude, PSG 2-0 down, they're not scared. Like
Yeah.
they seemed like they were confident.
Which is kind of crazy because PSG uh crazy that they put four past City just because that's one thing that's been lacking in their game is like at least Champions League wise is putting in the goals. Uh
Hmm.
like their chance creation is terribly low. Um so putting four could have had even more is concerning for City's point of view.
But I mean, if we were just to look at the table real quick, teams that have like already qualified without having to play in the playoff for the round of 16, those teams are going to be Liverpool and Barca. Arsenal, not yet. They play Girona, but if they just pick up a single point from Girona, they should be good. But Liverpool and Barca, they're solid, so it'll be a good time to potentially rest some players there. And then if we were just to read up the standings, it's Liverpool, Barca, Arsenal, Inter, Atletico, Milan, Atalanta, and Leverkusen. So that's the top eight. If things were to stand, those guys would not have to play a playoff game. And then 9 through 24 currently is Villa, Monaco, Feyenoord, who pulled off a crazy upset today against Bayern Munich 3-0. Lille at 12, good old Brest at 13. 14, we have Dortmund, who they're going through it right now. Somehow in the Champions League, they're still in the middle of the table, but man, they're struggling this year.
Mhm.
15, you have Bayern. 16, sleepy Real Madrid. They got a big dub today. Then you have Juventus. Surprising team here, Celtic. You have another Dutch team at 19th, PSV. Club Brugge. Then Benfica, PSG, Sporting, and Stuttgart rounding off 24. And then teams right outside that can potentially make it is Man City at 25, Croatian Dynamo Zagreb at 26, and then Shakhtar, Ukrainian team, 27. So,
Yeah.
so it's going to be an important week next week. I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about.
Yes, sir, for sure. Um,
Based on the like just what you've seen so far, who would be your team if you were to bet? If you were a betting man, like who do you think would win Champions League?
Real quick before I give you that, I'll say the most disappointing team though so far for Champions League has been Leipzig, only one win and already
Oh yeah.
eliminated. But if I had to pick a winner, uh, I want to say Liverpool or Inter Milan.
Ooh.
I just really like the way Inter Milan's set up, and I think they have one of the best managers in the world.
Hmm.
What about you? Who would your money be on?
I'm going Liverpool, especially because if you look at the other teams, Barca, Atletico, they're fighting in the La Liga too.
Uh,
Same with like teams like Inter, Atalanta. Milan's not really. They could potentially pull up an upset here and there in Champions League. And then Leverkusen, like the German teams, it's all pretty tight there. So I think Liverpool, they can focus a little more in the Champions League,
yeah,
considering they can still keep this gap up in the Premier League.
yeah. It would be crazy if Liverpool end up getting the quadruple slot first year. That would be insane.
Oh yeah, but they do still have to make a comeback in the Carabao
It's
second leg.
it's Tottenham.
You think Spurs will Spurs it?
Yeah, unfortunately.
And then tomorrow we have Europa League kicking off. And I know you guys are kind of clinging on to that like automatic round of 16
Yep,
as well.
by a thread. So
Yeah.
we play Rangers, who are also, I think, in that same position, just clinging on to that spot. And then Conference League is back up as well.
Uh, mm, I don't know when Conference League resumes. Let's see here. Uh, yeah, I'm not sure when Conference League resumes. It's not for a while, it looks like.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys will get the dub regardless, though.
Yeah, we've been absolutely blowing teams.
Oh, Conference League doesn't start back up till February. Jeez, February 13th.
Yeah, February 13th. Yeah, we've been clapping teams, but I mean, it's like when we play Noah and stuff like what,
Uh-huh.
basic.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, because it's already the knockout rounds in there. February. Cool. Yep. So next week, next Wednesday, all the Champions League, the last round of the 8 matches will be played, and they'll all be
Which games are you looking forward to most
uh
in Wednesday?
it probably has to be the City Club Bruges, um, just to see if City get that qualification. Um,
And then for our listeners, which game do you think will be the most entertaining for
for the
neutral?
listener. Uh, for neutral, I would recommend tuning into Barcelona versus Atalanta.
Yep, I was gonna
That'll
say
be a good
exactly
one.
that. I'm also interested to see Brest versus Real Madrid. Brest has been a sleepy giant or a sleepy team that have upset some giants so far.
Yeah, that is true.
They beat teams like PSG and got points from like Leverkusen, and they
Uh-huh.
thrashed not Leipzig, Salzburg. So
Hmm. Yep.
and then also Feyenoord versus Lille. I think that would be a high scoring game.
Yeah, Leo's very underrated. They've been looking really good. Um, so all those games will be Wednesday, and of course, just to avoid like the, I guess, cheating and stuff, they schedule it at the same time. So all of them at
Hmm
3 p.m. So after that, we'll figure out who's in and who's out. Um, but I'm sure our next episode will definitely cover the matches, and do a Champions League roundup. But as always, thank you all for listening to another episode of Super Subs. Until next time, peace out.